Okay, well, welcome to Sway Skills. My name's Ashley. I am the CEO of Sway Leadership. I'm also a team development coach, working with teams to build team cohesion, getting to know themselves, and then also becoming more curious about their team members. And I specialize in a framework called the Enneagram, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. We have created these spaces to create an opportunity for folks to learn about different topics or training and then to dialogue about them. So the first half of Sway Skills, or the first minor part, is a small teaching. So today we are going to be talking about intelligence centers. We've already gone through a series where we had an overall view of what are intelligence centers, and we've had one that's been around Enneagram. What is Enneagram in theory? How do you apply it at work? And then this one is going to be specific, talking about heart types. So they're the last Thursday of each month. And I'm going to actually stop the recording during the dialogue piece. And really, that's where the alchemy or magic happens, is when you are coming up with your own questions and asking, well, you know what, I have someone who's a heart type at work and I have a hard time connecting with them, and potentially bringing up those scenarios. So you're welcome to bring that up unfiltered. And then because the recording is going to be stopped, and then all the people who signed up, they are going to be sent the recording after. So I'm just going to dive in and begin our teaching around heart types. So I'm sure a handful of you, since you're here, you're familiar with the Enneagram symbol and what the Enneagram framework is. Essentially, this is a model that tells us about how we are neurologically wired and also how we are conditioned and socialized. So based off our biology, so our epigenetics, our ancestral background, and also our nurture. So our first 5 years of life, most psychologists will agree that your personality is well honed in. And it's because you needed to find ways to cope with the world. And the Enneagram theory postulates that there are 9 different coping strategies or mechanisms to cope with the world. And then more specifically, and we have already covered this in past Sway Skills, but within the 9 archetypes, you have the 3 intelligence centers. So the Enneagram, it comes in threes, right? There's 3 shapes, there's 3 intelligence centers. And then even within each type, there are 3 instincts that you have a preference towards. So there are 3 types that are more prone toward, a head intelligence, spending a lot of their energy on language, troubleshooting, storytelling, gathering information. Then there's 3 types that are more, they have a body, a kinesthetic preference. So it has to do with your motor function, your gut instinct, moving your body, checking in with yourself and saying, oh, this is what I'm feeling about this situation. And then 3 types that are a heart intelligence. So they have a preference towards feeling and having this type of emotional intelligence of being in tune or out of tune. So some of them are out of tune with their feelings, and actually their journey is to retune into themselves in order to really tap into that wisdom that they carry. So this is what we did last time. And then today, focus in on 2s, 3s, and 4s. So heart intelligence. People who are heart centers, or even if you're not a heart center, this is something that's really important to know about the Enneagram, is we have all 9 types in us. And we also have all 3 intelligence centers. But really what we're talking about is you are kind of lodged into one of the 9 or one of the 3 intelligence centers, and that is your dominant type that you identify with. So it's kind of like, well, I'm kind of like all 9 types, or I kind of have all 3 intelligence centers. Yes, absolutely, you do, but one of them, the volume is turned up so loud that you don't have access to anything else. It's kind of like those are just your involuntary responses to life. And so when we're talking about 2s, 3s, and 4s, types that aren't 2s and 3s and 4s, Of course, they also have an emotional intelligence. They have emotions. Of course, we all have emotions, but really, this is the preference. So this is where twos, threes, and fours start and spend most of their energy. Where other types, it's just not the case. So, um, if you are a heart type and you're feeling misaligned, disorganized, perhaps you're stuck in grief and you're expending your emotions on small projects or situations that are causing drama over insight, right? So that is showing that something is off balance. It's like almost like you're at this lower self or this lower version of yourself. Your heart, your emotions are feeling knotted, and you're reading into emails that people are sending you, or like looks and glances, and really you want to find ways to get yourself unknotted and be in tune with your higher self. So you want to go from feeling misaligned to aligned, and sitting in the right emotions, giving emotional energy and intention to the right people and projects, and being okay with letting go any of the petty drama. So, some heart intelligence daily practices. So, how do you go about that? Is consider keeping an emotion journal. If you go on Google and you look up an emotion wheel, you'll see there's this really handy tool on all these types of emotions like jealousy and frustration and what core emotion they go back to. And what you want to do is bullet 3 times a day or even once a day, no matter where you're at, or there's different levels of where you're at, and just write down, like, what am I feeling today? Create pauses to check in. Deep breathing. This is something I recommend for all types, but really relaxing your body in order to get in touch with your heart. So, breathing is one of the only automated physical responses that we have control over. So we can physically calm ourselves by breathing in like a Zoom situation. If you're, a knowledge worker and you're on the computer all day, or if you are working in an office, or if you are a labor worker, just an opportunity to tune into your body and just take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, okay, now how am I feeling after I've calmed down my body? Express yourself. So draw, talk it out. I recommend having like a friend that you just say, hey, I'm a heart type. I don't want you to fix me. I just need to orally process and get all of this out, and no fixing. And that's something that's really important to remember is for twos, threes, and fours. They want to share with you information. They want to feel, they want to express. But the moment you try to fix them, it feels like a betrayal. And that's something that other types might not get. Um, Also, ask feeling questions. So how am I, like, what do I feel about that situation? Not even just how am I feeling, but get more creative in how you're going to ask yourself that. Especially if you're a 2 or a 3. So twos and threes need a lot of creativity in how they're checking in with their feelings because it doesn't come as natural. Twos, they have a lot of feelings, but they've learned early on that their needs and wants don't matter. So they tune into other people's feelings. So they're that person in the office that's like, well, what do you need? What do you need? I'll take care of you, at the expense of their own success and their own feelings. So they need creative ways of asking themselves, how how can I take care of myself? What am I feeling today? Okay, what am I going to do with that? And threes as well. And what threes need is slowing down. So the moment a 3 slows down, sits with themselves, that's when the discomfort starts coming up. So, um, 2 ways that people deal with emotions, or emotions that are uncomfortable, which are emotions are our friends, and they are lessons that are teaching us something. So they're the symptom to this deeper thing that's going on with us. And we want to make that unconscious belief or that deeper thing conscious. We want to know what's going on, obviously, in order to be the best versions of ourselves. So slowing down is a way that this busy 3 can say, okay, I'm going to sit in the discomfort of whatever this is. Also, meditation is a great practice, even if it's 10 minutes a day. I have a little timer that when I'm done with work, I actually sit and I just put it on for 10 minutes and I breathe and I have some transition time to, okay, now it's the evening and I can do whatever it is after. And then having some sort of ritual. So you could even say, every morning I'm going to wake up and journal, and it can just be about whatever it is. It's kind of like a stream of consciousness journal before you start the day, before you open your phone, turn on Microsoft Outlook or your Gmail account or Yahoo, whatever you use, before you check social media and LinkedIn. Just have this ritual of like a one-page stream of consciousness. And it's a way of keeping an emotion journal because you're keeping with the patterns of your most raw thoughts. It's like what you're waking up with is what's really what you're holding and what you're processing before bed, and the things that matter the most, or the things that you need to let go. Because when we talked about over here, it's like trying to get over the small drama and move the heart types toward intention and expending their emotional energy where it matters. So these are a handful of just daily practices that are helpful for heart types, also helpful for everyone. So yeah, I think having some sort of, I mean, even want to like expand just a little bit on ritual. I know this is just like a lot of like options, and it's good to try out what works for you and start really low. So like, what is something that you can implement that will give you the biggest ROI or return on investment? For me, it's actually the two things. I keep an emotional journal for the morning, an emotion journal, and then when I transition into the evening, I have that timer. And then if there's time, like a midday walk. But you want to have those rhythms in place. So then when tough situations come up, you just know that those are your rhythms. So heart intelligence team practices. So if you have a team, what are ways that you can honor heart types? Well, having frequent and personal check-ins, not just getting to strategy or the bottom line, but checking in with people and asking them like, how are you doing? What's going on with your family? Um, what's going on in your personal life? And fours, most of the time, they're going to just open up in the workplace and share maybe even a little over too much information. Threes, it takes a little digging. You have to find, threes can get caught up in doing relationships instead of just being and sitting in relationships. And sometimes they need you to model that for them. So you want to model what it means to just be in relationship with them. And then twos, you have to be very cautious of them turning it and just wanting to talk about the other person. So, yeah, we've talked about me for a while. What is it that you are going through? What is that you're feeling? What's going on in your family? And they might use some of that deflection. Also, in-person workshops, in-person meetings, as the world is becoming more remote, 91% of communication has to do with our nonverbals and the things that we pick up that we just can't pick up over Zoom. So if you do have a remote office, consider getting together quarterly, even just once a year, to gather everybody and make sure that you're allowing people to tune into one another, which will make the rest of the work more structured. Also, heart types, and this is just like a general thought. It's not like solidified in stone, but sometimes prefer Zoom face to face over phone calls. So, other types might be like wanting to just gather the information, and heart types want to see mirroring. They want to see you saying, mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They essentially want to know if you are liking or receiving the feedback, and they tend to be very expressive themselves. So consider having like a face-to-face FaceTime or Zoom for the heart types in your office. Just check in with their emotions. Like, how are you feeling? I wrote feeling questions as well. What is it that you feel about the interviews that are coming up? Well, what is it that you feel about that situation that didn't go right? And Again, rituals, deep breathing, if you have that authority in your office, ways to lead the space, making sure that you're just paying attention to those who are more heart oriented. Writing or journaling, sometimes, I'll actually lead meetings where I'll say, hey, everybody, we're just going to spend the first 5 minutes here and have everybody just write down what's coming up for them today. And from there, then you can go ahead and say, okay, highlight one sentence from what's coming up for you today. And let's just quickly go around and share what that sentence is. It can be work related, or it can be not. Having fun and playing games, it's always a great way to just build that connection, be lighthearted with your team. And also for heart types, they really enjoy that personability. um, so that is the heart intelligence team practices that you could implement. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to pause the recording. We just finished the conversation around heart intelligence and around daily practices that heart types can do for themselves to become more grounded and be the best versions of themselves. And then also things that teams can do to cater to their heart types, and make sure that the space is both safe and then also nourishing for so the team can be the healthiest that they can be. With the conversation, some of the things that came up was just a reminder. Some takeaways were around, okay, yeah, this is a good reminder that we have all 3 intelligence centers. We have all 9 Enneagram types in us. If this isn't black and white, these are all theories. Also, a takeaway was wanting to tune into emotions more. So just the acknowledgement from the folks that were here saying, oh yeah, like I don't really spend time to do that. And perhaps just like writing a page in the morning about how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, and creating space for other people when they have their emotions and it's uncomfortable. And I recognize it's uncomfortable, but it just comes with practice. So these are all skills that we can build. And yeah, those are some of the main takeaways. Our next Sway Skills is in August, but we are going to postpone that because I am going to be traveling for a friend's wedding. So I'll be sending out an email reminder. So thank you for those who came today, and I'll see you all at the next Sway Skills.